Hello friends, welcome back to Stories with Pastor Macy. I had a whole plan for last month, for February, which is Black History Month in the United States. And I had stories picked out to share with you a couple a week. I had this book, which is lovely, which Miss Ruth bought for me, and Skin Like Mine, and All Are Welcome. And Miss Ruth lent me this book of hers, Little Leaders, Bold Women in Black History. And I had a whole book about Ruby Bridges that I can't find now, that we were going to read. And you know what? Life and the month kind of got away from me. So unfortunately, that didn't happen. Those are all great books. I encourage you to go read them. This is Bold Women in Black History. There's a companion volume that is Bold Men in Black History, and I believe there are 30 stories in this book of different African-American women who have impacted American history. So, as you can see, I have some little sticky notes over here of the stories we were going to read together, but I'm going to read just one today. This week was International Women's Day, and so I think it's a good segue from what I had planned, but didn't happen. And I have chosen one of my favorite people from this book, and her name is Katherine Johnson. And you might know her story a little bit from a movie that came out not too many years ago called Hidden Figures. And I love Katherine Johnson's story because I did a math degree in college as well as a theology degree. And she is was an amazing mathematician who died last year. So I am excited to share Katherine Johnson's story with you. Judging by the way Katherine took to math, you would think it was her first language. As a child, she counted everything. She skipped 7 grades and graduated ahead of her older siblings. As a young woman, she became a math teacher, but her mentor at the University of West Virginia encouraged her to pursue a career as a research mathematician. In 1953, Katherine got her chance. NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, had recently opened a lab that hired African-American mathematicians. In a time before there were digital calculators, cell phones, or computer machines, the women and men who performed computations were called computers. Katherine's first assignment was to the Flight Research Division. The United States was in the middle of a space race, a period of time in the 1950s and 60s when America and Russia were competing for technological advancement in space flight. The top goal, to get a man on the moon. Katherine was one of the people who helped make that happen. Her job was to calculate the flight path for the first mission in space. Imagine, the Earth is rotating, the moon is revolving, and a rocket has to follow a very specific trajectory in order to reach its moving target. Even when mechanical computers were introduced, Katherine was still crucial. She continued computing at NASA until her retirement in 1986, and her work influenced every major space program up until that point. During the Friendship 7 mission in 1962, John Glenn, the first American to orbit the Earth, refused to launch without verification that Katherine herself had double-checked the math. In 2015, Katherine was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, America's highest civilian honor. What's wonderful is that God created our solar system The earth and the moon, you can see that in the little picture here. The earth is rotating and the moon is rotating, and we have to send a rocket on just the right path. God created all of that, and he knows the math of it intimately, and what's hard for us, it's really hard math that Katherine was doing. God, that's easy for him. It's not a big deal for him. But he has made our minds curious, and we can do all kinds of wonderful things with the minds God has given us, including some very difficult math. Did you know that you carry more advanced technology in your pocket, or your mom or dad does, on a cell phone than all of the technology we had when we sent a man to the moon? We have more computing power in one cell phone than in all the computers and all the technology that it took us to put somebody on the moon. And that is pretty amazing. I am so glad that God gave us curiosity and gave us intelligence, and that we don't just have to blindly follow him. We can use our brains, and we can ask questions and ask hard things, and that God wants to be there and wants us to do that, and that can be part of our faith too. So I am so glad to have shared Katherine Johnson's story with you, and I encourage you to check out some of these other books. Some of them are available online in digital form. I know that The Little Leaders, both the Bold Women and the Bold Men in Black History, is available at Michael's right now, of all places. I wouldn't think of going to Michael's to buy books. And I hope you had a wonderful Black History Month in February and learned a lot. And I hope you had a wonderful International Women's Day this week too. Blessings. I'll see you again soon.